Now, Israeli forces have conducted more overnight raids in the occupied West Bank. Video shows Israeli military vehicles in al-Jazalone refugee camp north of Ramallah. Raids were also conducted in al-Arroub refugee camp north of Hebron. Elsewhere, Israeli forces fired tear gas and gunshots during a raid on al-Faraa. Al Jazeera's Mohammed Jamjoom joins us now from Ramallah in the occupied West Bank. And it seems, Mohammed, that the 100 days of war in Gaza have also brought an increase in raids and violence across the occupied West Bank.
You're absolutely right, Laura. Since October 7th, the intensity and the frequency of those raids by the Israeli army throughout the occupied West Bank have increased greatly. You now have, on average, around 40 of those raids happening each and every day. The situation is dire. The Palestinians we speak with in all the areas that have been raided continue to say they are worried that the situation is only going to get worse. Of course, you mentioned several of the raids that happened in the overnight hours into this morning. We should also mention one of the more significant ones occurred in the flashpoint city of Jenin. This is somewhere that the Israeli army continues to raid because they try to root out Palestinian resistance fighters that are based there. The raid that took place starting around 3 a.m., we're told last night, lasted around 5 hours. We're told that there were intense clashes between Palestinian fighters and members of the Israeli army, that the Israeli armed forces brought in armored bulldozers, as they usually do in these situations, that they cut critical infrastructure, they dug up roads. This is something that Palestinians we speak with say is a form of collective punishment. We're also told by eyewitnesses the army surrounded the government hospital in Jenin and that they searched ambulances there. Now, we should mention that the situation in the occupied West Bank is very worrisome, even for Israeli leadership. Just last week, it was reported in the Israeli media that Israeli security chiefs warned the Israeli government that if the situation continues to deteriorate throughout the occupied West Bank, that it might be on the verge of explosion, that they might see a third intifada start in the occupied West Bank because of all that is going on. Not just the violence when it comes to the raids, not just the killings, but also the fact that the economic situation is so dire. You have Palestinians who are unable to work, Palestinians who used to have work permits so they could enter Israel. They have not been able to since October 7th. It's only getting worse. We should mention that since October 7th, 347 Palestinians have been killed throughout the West Bank. Laura?
And Mohammed, just tell us briefly about the arrest there of the sisters of Salah al-Arroub. I mean, he was the assassinated Hamas member in Beirut 2 weeks ago by an Israeli airstrike, a drone strike.
That's right, Laura. That's right, Laura. His assassination caused a lot of anger in the West Bank. After that happened, there were protests, there were demonstrations, there were even calls for general strikes. In the overnight hours, there were the arrests of two of his sisters, one named Fatima. She was arrested in al-Bireh, and there was a video that was posted by her son, Ahmed, in which he said that the Israeli soldiers who raided their home and took his mother, that they also confiscated a lot of family pictures that showed Salah al-Arroub. Beyond that, also, Salah al-Arroub's sister, Dalal, she was arrested in Salah al-Arroub's hometown of Aroura here in the occupied West Bank. The Israelis have not commented as to why these sisters were arrested. We expect to hear more on that in the days to come.
Okay, we'll keep a watch out for that. Mohammed, for the moment, many thanks indeed.